Hi, welcome back to Focal Point, AFR Talk. Brian Fisher is my name. The program is Focal Point, the home of muscular Christianity. Take No Prisoners Radio. Focal Point on AFR Talk. Great to have you in the conversation. Got an interesting story here about Bank of America Merrill Lynch basically ordering their junior associates to take 4 days off a month. These guys are working 7 days a week, maybe 80, 90 hours a week, and Bank of America Merrill Lynch is saying, look, you guys are working too hard. We want you to take 1 day a week off. Stay away from the office. Spend that time relaxing. Spend that time with your families. On Friday, Bank of America Merrill Lynch issued a small reprieve for those with grueling schedules. Take 4 days off a month on the weekends. We are committed to making the work experience better for junior bankers. Believe these enhancements will help ensure they have the resources and support they need to succeed. For Bank of America, the issue sharpened after a 21-year-old intern died last summer in the company's London office. He'd been up for 3 straight nights. You know, and you think about that. Okay, 1 day off a week. I mean, God came up with that idea 3,500 years ago. So if Bank of America Merrill Lynch was just paying attention to the Word of God, they could have saved themselves learning this lesson the brutally hard way at apparently the cost even of the life of one of their employees. And speaking of discrimination against sexual behavior, sexual immorality, there's a huge crackdown in New Jersey now on prostitution and human sex trafficking in advance of the Super Bowl. That's coming up in 3 weeks. And there's a huge surge in prostitution around the Super Bowl. Hundreds of thousands of people coming to the area, and those that manage prostitution rings will flood East Rutherford, New Jersey, in order to offer what they have to offer. And the authorities there in New Jersey are cracking down on this. And part of it is because it leads inevitably to human sex trafficking. If you have prostitution, inevitably, without fail, young women are kidnapped and forced at gunpoint into the prostitution trade. Story I'm looking at is a girl from Indonesia. Thought she was coming to America for a hotel job, and at gunpoint she was forced into prostitution, had to spend several months doing it. She was a bank employee over in Indonesia, thought she'd come to America, approve her lot in life. She wound up bouncing from brothel to brothel, finally had to jump out a window to escape with her life. Now, remember, prostitution, that's what everybody, all the libertarians say, hey, don't mess with that because that's adults, that's consensual, can't mess with that. Well, the people in New Jersey know that you can't settle for that. All right, let's go back to the phones. Let's go to Robert, Lafayette, Indiana. Robert, welcome. What's on your mind?
Hi. I remember for each president, there's good things to do and there's bad things to do. Andrew Jackson did a lot of bad things, but he did actually balance the budget. Anytime someone gave him legislation on spending, he vetoed it. He kept doing that until he balanced the budget. The only problem he ran into is what to do with the excess cash. So there is I forget the word, but there's history from our past where presidents have balanced the budget.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
We don't want to do it now.
Yeah, there's a precedent there, Robert. You're exactly right. And Andrew Jackson was death on wheels on a central bank, did not want a central bank, and now we've had 100 years of the Fed, and we've seen how all that's worked out. So Andrew Jackson was right about that too.
And there is one more thing. I used to work at McDonald's. I work at a hospital now.
Uh-huh.
And because of that, I'm a PRN, which is pretty much as needed. I only can work 26 hours. But I used to be able to get up to 72 hours. But when the Affordable Health Care Act starting to get implemented, they said, well, we don't want anyone who works over 26 hours as a PRN not to get benefits. That sounds like a good idea on paper, but what it actually turns out into, I used to be able to work 72 hours a week, and I was fine with not getting benefits because I'm getting all the money I can from the company like that.
Mm-hmm.
But what happened now is I am forced to take 26 hours, and I am forced to call off. I can get absolutely no overtime because companies are smart. They're not going to give you benefits if they can save money by doing this, and that's exactly what happened.
Well, and that's the point I've made all the way along, Robert. The reason I'm against health care, see, all the liberals say, well, you got to be for health care because it helps the little guy. We want everybody to get insurance. You know, and Robert, you're a little guy. You don't have a large income. You're not a millionaire. You're not awash in greenbacks. You're one of these little guys that President Obama says, hey, I'm out of here. I'm here to help you. And you're getting completely shafted by this thing. Your income's down, and you don't have benefits to show for it. So the very people, the modest income people, that President Obama says, I'm your hero. I'm your champion. I'm here to help you. It's those evil, mean, wascally Republicans don't want you to have health care. And it's exactly the other way around. You know, I want you to be able to work as many hours as your employer is willing to pay you, Robert. I want you to have access to whatever health care benefits they want to provide. I don't want to see any limitations on how far you can go or what you can do in your job situation. It is liberals that are constantly putting employers in a place where they got to cut back hours and cut wages and hurt the very people that they say they are out to help. All right. Well, listen, Robert, I appreciate that call. Thank you for that. Let's go to James in Camden, Tennessee. James, welcome. What's on your mind?
Hello?
Hey.
Yeah, okay. I wasn't sure that, with the monitor, I wasn't sure that I was on the phone yet.
You are on.
I think Hillary Clinton will eat Christie alive. I don't think she'll even leave a blood trail when she slurps him up.
Now, why do you think that Hillary Clinton will mop the floor with Chris Christie?
Because there's nothing that makes him any different than any of the dozen other ineffectual Democrats that she's going to burn on the way to the nomination.
You know, so you're kind of looking at it. You know, she's the real thing. I mean, she doesn't pretend to be anything other than a hardcore left-wing liberal. And Chris Christie is really left-wing in all of the significant areas of policy.
Yeah, well,
he's pretending to be something else. So you're saying the American people they're gonna go for the real thing rather than for the ersatz liberal. They'll go for the real deal.
He would have been a Rockefeller liberal in the 50s.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm a World War II baby, so I started to be politically sensitive in the 50s, you know, and I've watched the Republican Party go all over the place in the last 60 years. And, the people you call rhinos is what I call Republicans. I think the Tea Party is a distinct group.
Yeah. And now, James, let me ask you this. Did you identify yourself as a Republican for many years?
No.
Never did?
No, I've always been an independent moderate.
All right.
But I've always leaned, I've been a fellow traveler to the Republicans because I've been pretty much against the platform of the Democratic Party. I just never, I just never felt that the Republican leadership was anything I could endorse.
Now, let me ask you this. You identified yourself as an independent moderate. Would you classify yourself as a political moderate, not as a political conservative?
Yeah, but I'll tell you something else, too. The Tea Party conservatives share a lot of the, shall we say, mid-century moderate agendas. I mean, I don't consider myself at this point much different than a lot of the Tea Party conservatives because the agendas, the classical moderate agenda and the current conservative agendas kind of overlap a lot.
So tell me why, James, why you don't just call yourself a conservative then? Why do you call yourself a moderate? What distinguishes your position from what you understand a conservative position to be?
Well, I would say that probably the thing is that we probably have some differences in
Sound like you got somebody helping you organize your thoughts back there.
No, different. We have some differences in some government programs. The moderates, think some programs are more realistic to be done by the government instead of privatized.
All right,
but we don't believe in large government.
Yeah. So you believe there is a place for government programs that if they're managed properly, they can be useful.
Yeah, in fact, I'll give you one right now that has been highly successful since Teddy Roosevelt started it, and that's the National Park Program. That's not. Shoot.
All right. Well, listen, I better let you go, James, so you can handle the livestock there. That's James in Camden, Tennessee. So, and I think in terms of government programs, to me, it's very, very simple. If the Constitution does not authorize the federal government to do it, then it has no authority to do it. That's how you decide whether a federal program is something the federal government ought to do. It doesn't matter whether they can do it and maybe even would do a decent job of it, although I don't know a single federal program where they've done a decent job, a cost-effective job. But the point is, if the Constitution does not authorize them to do it, then they shouldn't be doing it. It's just that simple. It doesn't matter whether it's a good idea or a good program or something that the federal government could do a decent job at. If we want government to be able to do that, then come back to the American people and let's amend the Constitution and let's add that to Article 1, Section 8. We've amended the Constitution 27 times. If you think that function is something that's so important and that only the federal government can do it, then bring a proposal to the American people to amend the Constitution and add to the list of designated powers in Article 1, Section 8. All right, well, that speaking of the health care thing, I want to add, and I may flip over to the other side of the break on this. Maybe, Rob, let's grab clip number 6. See if we can throw clip number 6, the Nancy Pelosi clip, in here. Do we have time to grab that? Nancy Pelosi talking about the Health Care Act. Let's listen.
3 Obamacare bills on the floor tomorrow in the House. Some Democrats have indicated they might be open to supporting them. How strongly are you pushing members to vote against them? And does it start to become a sign of weakening support if more Democrats start jumping in?
Absolutely not. First of all, it's called the Affordable Care Act. If that's what you're referencing, they are going after the Affordable Care Act.
So Nancy Pelosi reprimanding this reporter. It's not Obamacare. It is the Affordable Care Act. Now, why is that? Why are they so insistent that they call it the Affordable Care Act? Because it is a killer. It's taken Obama and his approval ratings to the bottom of the ocean, and he's getting ready to take the entire Democratic Party with him. So the Democrat leadership, they're aware of how much trouble they're in. They're trying to distance the Health Care Act as far as they possibly can from Obama and the Democratic Party. Back in 2.